Hi, I'm JB Moon with BitcoinMaximalist.com, and welcome to this week's edition of our Q&A. Today we have a question from Chicago, Illinois, I believe, Brian D., and he writes, JB, I'm ready to buy some Bitcoin, but I don't really know what to do. I'm planning $500 to start and to reinvest any profits. Help. Good question. For me, this question's kind of I'm new to crypto, I'm new to Bitcoin, I want to get in, but I want to be somewhat responsible. And fair thing, Brian, let's try and help you out. I think the first thing I would start with is a question of which coin. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies, which is kind of crazy, thousands of different coins. But being from BitcoinMaximalist.com, I can narrow that down for you really quick. And fair enough, not everyone agrees with me. Not everyone's a Bitcoin maximalist, but you're on BitcoinMaximalist.com, so let me give you my 2 cents. One, pretty much everything behind Bitcoin is shit. Shit! All right, maybe some of them might be something, but if there's 3,000 coins and 98% of them are crap, are junk, then most of them are shit, even if there's 20 coins that might be legit. So let's jump into this. CoinMarketCap.com. Here you can go here and you can see the top 100 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. So if you take the price of one, let's say, unit of Litecoin, we'll take the 5th coin here, and you multiply it by the total number of Litecoin, that gives you your market capitalization, which really is a term from stocks, bonds, that sort of thing, and I think has some complexities when you apply it to cryptocurrencies, but let's deal with those later. For now, that's what market cap is. Market cap is basically how big this coin is. And so this is the top 100 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. First thing to note, if you looked at this website and this chart for the past 10 years, it's different every time. The top 10 cryptocurrencies changes every year. It's a very radical kind of field, market, that sort of thing. Really, the only thing that's stayed steady is Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're always in the top 10. Litecoin's been there for a bit. Bitcoin Cash is recent, but it's up there right now. So let's jump into these things. Bitcoin, that's my baby. That's the original. Born out of the 07-08 financial collapse, this mysterious man, Satoshi Nakamoto, I mean, maybe a man, maybe a pseudonymous, oh, I didn't say that, pseudonym, name, maybe a group of people, maybe a woman. We don't know who it is. The identity's never been revealed. There's been some people that have come out, hey, I'm Nakamoto, but people are like, nah, bitch. So Bitcoin, that's our boy, and it came from the birth of the blockchain itself. And the blockchain is the technology that underlies all of these cryptocurrencies. We'll save that for another video. But for now, no, Bitcoin's the original. It started at pennies on the dollar. Someone initially bought a pizza with 10,000 Bitcoin. Now it's up to $7,000 if you want to buy one Bitcoin with US dollars. So that's my boy, but let's keep going with the story. Let's not get too hung up there. Ethereum, really, that's the next big boy in this game. The second largest market cap. It's been around for a bit, and I'd say the main distinction Bitcoin to Ethereum is Bitcoin's more conservative. It's kind of just blockchain. It's just a trusted ledger from an untrusted set of actors sort of thing, and it's applied to money. Ethereum does a lot more. It's a lot more powerful than Bitcoin, which is cool and exciting in some regards, but with great power comes great responsibility. And I am a full-time software engineer, and I know the more code you write, the more opportunity for bugs you have. Writing software just isn't an exact science, and really we don't add in the level of redundancy and safety that some other fields do. Say, for example, physical engineers, mechanical engineers, people that build bridges, these sorts of things, civil engineers, they can't have just a bug that easily lets their bridge crash on people. There's a lot more, reliability in there, but with software code, it's the Wild West, man. Things get hacked all the time. It's just there's so many layers in a software stack. There's the underlying operating system. There's the bytecode. There's the source code. There's frameworks on top of that. There's gonna be bugs in code. So for me, Bitcoin has less features, but really that's a feature, not a bug. That's not a bad thing that Bitcoin has less features. For me, I'm all about that. But other people disagree, and they're into Ethereum. You can do cool stuff with Ethereum, cool stuff. You can write smart contracts in that you go into business with someone and you have a shared Ethereum kind of bank account, and when money goes into that, it automatically gets routed to your two bank accounts. And that is kind of a cool feature. If there weren't the possibility that someone could steal all your money, I'd be into that too. And there are a couple of other key distinctions in that Bitcoin's leader, Satoshi Nakamoto, isn't around anymore. He or she or it started this thing, got it going, and then disappeared. And we don't know where they are now. But there's no single person that kind of runs the community of Bitcoin now. Ethereum's different. They have Vitalik, I think he's 21 years old, some kid who started this thing, which props to him, man, who kind of leads the community now. He is the arbiter of discussions in the future of Ethereum and that sort of thing. But it does make it a more centralized coin than Bitcoin in that regard. Inflation, deflation. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum are technically currently inflating right now in that more coins are being printed. But Bitcoin has built into the base protocol that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. There's never going to be any more than that. And if we presume that that Bitcoin will continue to gain adoption, really Bitcoin will be a deflationary currency over time. Ethereum currently has no limit on the inflation that it can run. It could inflate forever, which for me, coming from US dollar, trying to escape the US dollar to get into Bitcoin, I don't want an inflationary currency. It's not interesting to me, but so be it. Let's see, looking at this, Ethereum, circulating supply, there's way more Ethereum than there are Bitcoin that are actually out there around moving. As far as the movements of the prices of them, we'll get to price later, but for now, just assume they're all pretty much doing the same thing. Everybody pretty much follows Bitcoin right now. That could change in the future, but right now, where Bitcoin goes, the rest generally go. All right, that's enough about Ethereum. Ripple, to me, horseshit, straight up horseshit. Ripple's trying to be the banking coin, we're going to integrate with all the banks, we're going to integrate with the payment processors, we're going to be Visa, that sort of thing. But to me, it doesn't have those core elements that make blockchain and make a cryptocurrency interesting, in that it's not really decentralized. There's a central company that owns it and runs it. I think I read recently that they haven't even used the Ripple for any of their actual transactions, that sort of thing. So will it work? Maybe. But to me, it's just PayPal. It's Venmo. It's just another centralized kind of private banking money entity, that sort of thing. And maybe that will be useful, but it's not the reason that I'm in cryptocurrency. The reason I'm in cryptocurrency is for that decentralized aspect. There's no one person that you have to trust, whether that's a private company or a government. There's no one central point of failure that you have to trust. You trust the whole network in Bitcoin. Whereas Ripple, you're trusting that centralized company. And even if not them, let's say they are trustworthy, but the government comes in and they want to shut them down, political reasons, whatever, they have a central point that they can come to and shut them down. And this has happened to Venmo, PayPal. There's been kind of digital currencies in the past, but once they get big enough to start to compete, government comes in, smacks them with a money laundering suit and shuts them down. When it's an individual, they can shut you down. There's no individual that they can slap a money laundering suit on for Bitcoin that will shut it down, because there's no individual that runs Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash. Now, this is a controversial one in the community. The Bitcoin people, the Bitcoin maximalists, they kind of hate Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash was a fork of Bitcoin. There was one history of Bitcoin. It's chugging along, and then the code forked. And one stayed around and was what we call Bitcoin now, and one stayed around is what we call Bitcoin Cash now. They made some changes to the protocol. Basically, the block size. It has to do with whether you're going to scale on the blockchain or off the blockchain, which again, I think we'll save for another video. But basically an ideological difference. Some people thought the code should be one way. Some people thought the code should be another way. And it forked off. The controversy is that people think there's deception involved in Bitcoin Cash, and that it has the name Bitcoin Cash, which really sounds like Bitcoin. And to most people, especially the lay person, which not to hate on them, most people aren't devoting their lives to cryptocurrency, which is fine. Bitcoin Cash sounds like Bitcoin. They might think that just is Bitcoin, or they might think it's the one you use when you're paying for stuff. Basically, it's that kind of belief that there's intentional confusion with Bitcoin Cash that makes people kind of hate it. Anyway, there's a centralized dude who's kind of the main cheerleader for Bitcoin Cash. But hey, man, it's kept up $700 per coin. It's up there. Is it a scam or not? I'm not putting any money into it, but I'll let you decide for you. Litecoin. Litecoin is another fork of Bitcoin. It forked off of Bitcoin at some point further in the past. It doesn't have as contentious of a relationship with Bitcoin. It's actually kind of, people are kind of friendly to it. Some see it as kind of a test net for Bitcoin, in that they can test out features on Litecoin and then bring them into Bitcoin later. The maximalists are kind of like, dump Litecoin too. Dump them all! Litecoin has a centralized leader, Charlie Lee. You can look him up on Twitter. He's kind of the figurehead for Litecoin. EOS, I think this is the one that John Oliver did a bit on, and I'm just going to call this trash and a scam. Cardano, trash. Stellar, trash. Neo, trash. IOTA, trash. Monero, this is supposed to be the privacy coin. This is the one where you can do transactions and you can't trace it, sort of thing. This comes back to when you're getting into kind of like the theoretical principles of cryptocurrency. You have divisibility, portability, fungibility. Fungibility is kind of the interchangeability of one unit for another unit. So if we wanted to use houses as currency, which can't you use anything as currency? Maybe, kind of. But houses aren't really fungible, in that if I have one house and you have one house and we both want to buy something, the receiver of that isn't going to treat those two houses as equal, as if one's just as good as the other. Whereas a US dollar quarter, they're almost perfectly fungible in that people will accept any quarter. They don't care if it's a 1981 quarter or a 1991 quarter. A quarter is a quarter. But with a house, there's complexity to it. There's character. There's a history. There might have been water damage, that sort of thing. So one house doesn't equal one house. So in cryptocurrencies, does one coin equal one coin within the same coin? So within Bitcoin, does one Bitcoin like 100% equal to any other Bitcoin as far as are people willing to accept any Bitcoin, or does it matter which particular Bitcoin it is? And actually, to be objective, in Bitcoin, it doesn't have a perfect score for fungibility. There is a history of everything that's happened to any one Bitcoin. And there may be, say, a particular history of a coin, a lineage of transactions that runs through something corrupt, something illegal, and the government's tracking that. And if you're a sophisticated enough user, you can know which coins have which history, and you might not want a coin that has a particular history to it. You might want a coin that's more pure, sort of thing. So Bitcoin objectively doesn't have perfect fungibility. So there is room in the market there for another coin to compete on that regard. And Monero is trying to do that. It's trying to have that anonymity in your transactions, that fungibility amongst its coins. Dash, this is another one that I kind of put in the category of like a cryptocurrency PayPal, which maybe you're into, but for me, I'm just not into. PayPal is PayPal. PayPal works. If you want PayPal, go use PayPal. A cryptocurrency PayPal, a kind of centralized digital cash, doesn't do anything for me. Tron, scam, Tether. Okay, here's something that's actually interesting. So there's this category of coins called stable coins. And the idea is, yeah, here we go. So look at the price chart of Tether. Can we blow this thing up? Yeah, okay. Historical price data as compared to the other ones. Tether charts. Yes. Are we green here? Price in USD. Straight across. Tether is always the same? How is that? So this concept of stable coins, the idea is, what if, could we have a cryptocurrency that is a cryptocurrency, but the price doesn't fluctuate so much? Because the price of Bitcoin is extremely volatile. It goes up, it goes down. Just yesterday, it went up $1,000 in 30 minutes. That's very volatile. Even though I'm a fan of Bitcoin, I can't deny that. It is volatile right now. Now getting to the volatility of Bitcoin, I would say that has more to do with the immaturity of the market, that it's a new technology, it's a new market, it's a small market cap. I mean, it's, $300 billion, but in the scale of gold or stocks or any of those sorts of things, it's a tiny market capitalization. So it's very volatile, but people want to be able to use cryptocurrencies, but they don't necessarily. It is a downside, the volatility of the market. It changes some things, in that I don't hold all of my money in Bitcoin because it's too volatile. So the community came up with this idea of stablecoins, and the idea of stablecoins is that they're stable. They don't change over time. So if you look at the price here, 0.99999, basically we're at $1 per tether. You can see in there green, $1. It did jump here, so it got less than $1 and then more than $1. So, technically speaking, it can be unstable, but it's much more stable. I mean, it's basically $1 for this history that we have here from 2015 up to 2018. And so the idea is, what people will do, they'll take US dollar, they'll put it on this exchange, they'll buy Tether. And so the idea is it's tethered to the US dollar, and that one Tether will always equal $1 US. Then they can use that Tether and buy Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin goes up, and then they sell that Tether, or they sell that Bitcoin back to Tether, and then they can hold it for a while. Basically a way you can sit out of the cryptocurrency game, the current cryptocurrency volatility, but still own cryptocurrency. And so it's kind of this medium of exchange, this stable medium of exchange. So how can you keep a cryptocurrency stable like that? I believe the stated rationale from Tether is that whenever someone gives them $1 and then they give them one Tether, the Tether company holds on to that US dollar. So for every Tether that's out there, it's backed by a literal US dollar. So like people ask the question, what is your cryptocurrency backed by? The idea with Tether is that it's backed by US dollar. For every one Tether that's out there, $1 US exists. So if someone ever wants to sell their Tether, the US dollars are all there. Now the question of, is that true? Are there really US dollars behind every Tether that's out there? And this is actually a contentious point and a point of debate for people. I'm kind of scared of Tether. I don't have any money in Tether. There's been rumors that there's kind of fractional reserve banking going on with Tether, basically that they kind of put more money out there, they print more Tether than they actually have backed by US dollar. And the cryptocurrency world is kind of the Wild West right now, so it's hard to actually verify. The Tether company got an auditor at one point, but then they parted ways with the auditor. So that's Tether. But just to bring up, it's a whole category of coins, which are these stable coins, and there's multiples of them. And so we see Tether here, Ethereum Classic. We talked about Ethereum up here. Ethereum Classic is a fork of Ethereum, so all these coins can fork. Monero has forks. I mean, that's a lot of the ways that we get so many of these coins. With the code's open source, you fork it, you create a new coin. Zcash, I think this is another privacy sort of coin. Bitcoin Gold, this is another fork of Bitcoin. So the main ones, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, are the main Bitcoin forks. I mean, Litecoin right under it, but there's more. There's Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond. There's all these crazy things. And for me, why am I a Bitcoin maximalist? Why do I think these are all trash? I mean, can we look up? Here we go. Dentacoin. Oh my god. Dentacoin. Dentacoin has $100 million market capitalization. What is Dentacoin? My understanding, Dentacoin is a coin you use when you go to the dentist. So you're going to go to the dentist, and instead of paying them in US dollars, you'll pay them in Dentacoin. And then what are the dentists going to do with the Dentacoins? I don't really know, but the idea is like a domain-specific coin, a coin you use for buying cars, a coin you use for for hiring your gardener, a coin you use for going to the dentist. For me, it doesn't make any sense. I think they're all useless and dumb. I don't think you'll use Dentacoin to pay your dentist. I think one day you'll use Bitcoin to pay your dentist. I think we just need one cryptocurrency money that we spend and that people will accept, because the point of money is for people to want to accept it, they're going to need to be able to spend it. For me, if I pay a dentist in Dentacoin, all they can buy with it is dental services. But dentists, don't need $100,000 a year worth of dental services. They want to buy a car and they want to buy a house and this sort of thing. So they want Bitcoin. At least that's my take on that sort of thing. So that's a lot of why I think, a lot of these things are just trash. They're just nonsense. Really, anytime there's a craze of money to be made, people are going to create a new coin and try to make money. Because if you create a coin, a lot of these people that create coins, they keep some of the coins for themselves. This is called a pre-mine. And then when they sell a bunch of them, then the value of it goes up. They already hold a bunch of it. So there's incentive on that side to create these coins. People want to try to find these new coins, put money into them. So that when it goes up, they can make money. But really, this is sort of like a gambling sort of thing, where I'm in Bitcoin for more ideological reasons, and that there's a new future, there's a new economy that I want to be a part of. Will that exist? We don't know yet. It's honestly early. But being a Bitcoin maximalist, I believe it will exist. And so I'm kind of trying to join that new world. I'd call most of these coins much more speculative. People just trying to make money on a coin, which I'm not really judging morally. That's fine. You can make money in this world however you want to make money. But if I'm giving advice to a new person, I say stay away from the shit, stay away from the shit, stay away from the shit. Okay, so that is list of cryptocurrencies. Yeah, we hit the big ones: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, IOTA, Darkcoin, Tether. Yeah, we don't need to do this one. Next up, if someone looking to get into this, that I would want them to be aware of, to understand, is the historical movement of Bitcoin price trends. I initially got into Bitcoin in 2013. I put in $120. It went down. I freaked out. For 3 days, I was sweating bullets, just $100 in Bitcoin. I'm like, there's no way it's gonna maintain this price. But eventually, a couple days later, it went up. It went up to $170, and I was like, I'm out of here. I sold. I made my $50. Let's get out of here. And the idea was, okay, I'll watch the Bitcoin price movements while not being in it and kind of get an idea about it. But over time, I kind of lost interest if you don't have money in it. And then, more recently, this stuff all blows up and everybody gets back into it. And here we are today. So let's look at some of the historical price movements of Bitcoin. So where are we here? Do we have a year? 2015 is what we're looking at. Okay, so in 2015, we have a peak in January of $270. You can see over here the price. These candlesticks, are kind of price movement. Down here, RSIs, like indicator on price stuff. We'll get to that at a later date. But let's watch the price of Bitcoin. It's $200. Back here, we move forward. What's happening? crash, I'm losing my money. Okay, it's kind of dumb for a while. It's boring for a while. We're going down. Hey, baby, we got a spike there. We're going up. We're getting rich. Yeah. Oh, crap. We're going back down. Okay, so it's kind of just dorking around on $200 for a bit. November, December. What are we at? 2015 of December. Okay, $400. Moving up. Down. Okay, moving down. Oh, down. So, notice these. So we go from $464 to $350. So basically we lose $100, which at $400 is a quarter of the value. Just boom, just dumped. If that happened in the stock market, it'd be huge. But this is super common in Bitcoin. This is kind of just how it goes. Yes, we're going to be rich. Look at this price spike. Okay, so from here to here, 400 up to almost 800. So the price basically doubled in this time period here from April to the end of July sort of thing. Immediately after, boom, crash, crap, going down, boom, crash again. So we're going to. So we went all the way back down to 400. So up to 800, back down to 400. This is how these prices move. All right, we're going up. Hey, we're rich. Oh, we're poor. We're going up. Yeah, $2,000. People must have thought this was a freaking bubble. We were just at $400. Now we're $300. Going up, still going up. Look at this. So this is the great Bitcoin bull run, where it's just, baby, we're going up. There are these little crashes in here, boom, boom. But baby, we're going to Sizzler. And then that brings us to December of this most recent year. Right? Is this? Yep. The bull run peaks at, near $20,000. And everyone's like, now is the time to get in. And poof, crash. Down. Dun, crash. Okay, and that's where we are today. So that's kind of a little run of how this thing goes. Up, down, 400, 800, back to 400, 20,000, back to, we hit a spike today, about 8,000, but we hit a low of, what are we looking at here? About 6,000 here. So from 20,000 to 6,000. Which, when this gets picked up on the news now, people are like, oh, you suck if you're into Bitcoin. It went from $20,000 to $6,000. That thing crashed. But it all depends on your kind of time, what's the metric, the time metric on which we're measuring this thing. If you look from, let's go here. So 2017, basically a year ago, we're at $1,000, and now we're at $8,000. So from $1,000 to $8,000, that's a huge return on the price going on there. So it depends on your time preference, and don't get caught up on this thing. Don't be a noob. I've definitely bought Bitcoin on the way down, thinking, okay, we're about to get to a bottom. Now's the time to buy. It's going to go up, and I think that is kind of a noob mistake. Really, I'd say much more go with the market. When you have these long trends, these long bull runs, that's what I think you kind of want to pay attention to. If you're, right here, it went poof, crashed to here and then shot up. You're like, oh man, this is the thing. We're going to the moon. No, we're still in this downward bear trend. We're in a bear market right now. When you can draw these sorts of lines, beep, beep. This is the trend of what's happening right now. We're going down. And will it go up at some point? Maybe. But even this spike right here, oh man, we're back to a bull run. We're all going to be rich. Maybe. Really, my prediction is sort of that there may be what they call a bull trap. It heads up a little bit. People get their money and then poof, it crashes again. So really, I'd look for big picture trend reversals. When does it look like the price is starting to go up again? So just understanding price. Those are the things I'd say. Just be a little cognizant of the history of Bitcoin price. Final thing related to Bitcoin price and your question of $500 to start, reinvest any profits. So $500, is that a good amount? I think totally. $500 is fine. It's good. It's great. It's a great way to get in. And really the advice generally is only invest what you're prepared to lose completely. So don't put $500 in that you're going to need, let's say, a month from now because you have some bill coming up. You're like, oh, I got to get it out. Because it's a very real possibility. If you put $500 in today, a month from now, it could be $300. It could be $250. And you're going to feel like, well, I don't want to sell now. I'm going to lose $250. So just fair warning, that's a very real possibility. So take that into account when you put money into something. It could go up further. I mean, as a Bitcoin maximalist, I think in 3 years, it could be $100,000 a coin. Is that guaranteed? No. Is that financial advice? No. But just as a theoretical point, that's what you're doing when you're putting money in a risky asset, in that you have a large potential upside, but with large potential upside, you don't get that for free. There's large potential downside. So I'd say only if this is money that if you lost it, your wife's not going to kill you, you're not going to be evicted, that sort of thing. But it sounds like $500 is probably a great place to start. So $500 doesn't even buy you a Bitcoin. What do we do about that? And this is another kind of like common thing that it's helpful to explain to people as they're getting into it. So first, let's just start with a converter here. If we put $500 in, that gets you 0.064 Bitcoin, which objectively is a little depressing to buy 0.06 of something for $500 where you could buy something real for $500. But let me give you another tip here. 0.064 Bitcoin, there's a unit in this cryptocurrency world and in Bitcoin called a Satoshi. And a Satoshi is currently the smallest unit of Bitcoin currently recorded on the blockchain. It is 100 millionth of a single Bitcoin, or 0.00000001. Point, all of that of a Bitcoin. So let's convert $500 into Satoshi. So we have the amount of Bitcoin that's actually 6 million Satoshi. That feels way better. For $500, you can buy 6 million Satoshi. And really, because Bitcoin is divisible, the unit price of 1 unit of Bitcoin really doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean anything in the scope of things. You don't have to buy and sell 1 Bitcoin. You don't have to transact with 1 whole Bitcoin. You can transact with Satoshi. So really, it kind of makes more sense to think of these terms and think of these things in terms of Satoshi. But really, it's just kind of like keeping track of number and semantics at that point. That's like when a stock split happens. The price of Apple goes from $500 a share to $50 a share. But really, they created more shares. So it's the same content there. It's just we put a different name on it, basically. So think of your $500 buying 6 million Satoshi, which sounds more cool. So that's kind of like intro advice for someone looking to get into this stuff. And reinvest profits? Sure, man, if you're into this. I mean, that's the reason I'm into it. I'm not actually into it to buy low, sell high. I'm not a day trader of Bitcoin. I'm more ideological. I believe in the movement of this, and I can talk more about the movement I'm into in another video. But I'm looking to put money in and leave it. And that's how I decided to finally put kind of some serious money into it, is once I decided I'm going to put this in and I'm not going to touch it for 3 years was basically the commitment I made to myself. And some of the money I put in crashed immediately, went down, and that sucks, and you want to sell. But you have to learn to avoid to deal with the investor psychology, because your natural psychology will make you do the exact opposite of what you should do. You will naturally buy high and sell low if you listen to your emotions. And so if you're not a professional trader, which if you're a professional trader, props to you. I'm not a professional trader. I would think through those sorts of things. What if you put this money in, the price goes down and stays down for 3 months? How would that make you feel? Would you be willing to do that? And if no, I'd say don't put the money in. But if yes, if you have kind of a longer time scale, then I think it makes sense. Final point, I would recommend dollar cost averaging in your purchases of Bitcoin. So I wouldn't put all the $500 in right away. I might even put $100 a month. So on the first of every month, put $100 in. And what that does, if you spread out your cryptocurrency purchases here and here and here and here and here. What you end up with is an average of the price. So it's a way to kind of give up a little bit of control, but due to the idea that you're lacking a little bit of knowledge. No one can really predict the future price of Bitcoin. It may go up, it may go down. If you dollar cost average in, if you spread out your purchases over time, you can kind of delocalize your risk a little bit. You can hedge a little bit. So that's the last point I might add. But let's check it out. Brian D from Chicago. I hope that was helpful, man. Thanks for the question. And for anyone interested, definitely write to me, and we will get your question on a future week. Thanks a lot.